So I am so delighted to welcome our next speaker here. She has been so beautiful as I've been putting this summit together. She's just kept dropping me really positive little emails and messages saying, well done, Lorraine, you know, you're doing great. Because yeah, it's been quite a journey to put this together today. And so when people are that open-hearted and warm and just supportive, it's actually very special. So thank you very much for that, my dear. And I'm so looking forward to hearing what you have to say about relationships. And so I'm going to introduce you and say that Wendy Lyon is talking about transforming blocks to love. And Dr. Wendy Lyon guides individuals and couples to create lives they love with the love of their lives. Since 1999, she has helped thousands to transform their lives and find lasting love. She is a master relationship coach and a psychologist. Dr. Wendy helps singles gain confidence, clarity, and find love. And she helps couples connect, communicate, and rejuvenate relationships. She's a mentor for the Relationship Coaching Institute and Love in 90 Days University. She provides proven programs that have benefited thousands across the world. She's also a best-selling author, and her books include Roadmap to Success, which she wrote with Deepak Chopra, no less, and Ken Blanchard. Previously, she was a college psychology professor, and she has led international educational expeditions and transformational retreats. And she's now happily married and has been since 2005. And Dr. Wendy is committed to helping you create a life you love with the love of your life. So welcome, Wendy, and over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Lorraine. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm so glad you put on this amazing summit. So congratulations for making it happen. Fantastic. And yeah, it's just a delight to be here with all of you. Thank you for showing up. For me, it's early in the morning on a Saturday. So I'm delighted to be here with you.
Fantastic. Well, I have a lot of questions that I want to ask you. So what are some of the common blocks to love?
Well, today we're going to be talking about how to transform blocks to love. So before you transform the blocks, you need to find them, you need to identify them. So let's take a look at some of those common blocks to love. And you're probably familiar with some of these. These are the fears, the doubts, the limiting beliefs that get in our way. We tend to be so critical of ourselves, so judgmental, and often we're fearful of others. So those can really block us. Sometimes we're not even aware of those blocks that could be hidden deep inside. So that's my work I've been doing over 20 years to help people dig out those blocks, to examine them, to release them, and to transform them. So let's talk about some of the common ones. There's some variation of I'm not good enough. I hear this all the time. I know I've worked with so many people, some version of I'm not good enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not smart enough, thin enough, successful enough, blah, blah enough, whatever it is, something. Does that sound familiar to anyone?
Certainly sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, we've all been there, right? Oh God, we're so hard on ourselves, beating ourselves up. I'm not lovable. I'm not deserving of love. So that's a common one for sure. And then there's another common block is this belief that, well, there's nobody good out there anyway. There's no good men, there's no good women. All the good ones are taken. So I need to settle. I just need to settle for whatever I can find.
Yes, I hear that one a lot, actually, from people that I counsel, Wendy. So, yeah, and what would you say that the answer is to that?
Yeah, well, we'll get there for sure. But well, there's millions of people out there, and I know there's at least one good one that's a match for you. You bet. Yeah. So another common, a common block to love, a common limiting belief is that relationships are dangerous. I mean, if you're an adult, you've been hurt in a relationship, right? We've made it this far. We've had some pain, maybe. That's what happens. And sometimes we get so scared, we think it's not safe to love, I'll be hurt again. So let's just tune in a little bit to see how this feels when we're feeling like not good enough. How does that feel in your body? Like, ugh, it doesn't feel good at all, right? You feel maybe ashamed, maybe you want to hide, maybe contract. Not a good feeling. And if you think there's no good ones, and there's nobody out there, well, why even bother? Or you just think, okay, I'll just settle for whatever shows up, and you might feel resigned that I just have to take whatever shows up. I'm not going to have what I really want. So yuck, right? That feels bad as well. And then this whole thing where relationships are dangerous, I'm going to be hurt. You feel scared. You put up walls. You close yourself off. It's yuck, yuck, yuck. So we're not going to stay in this yucky place. We're going to move forward. But let me share with you a story. I want to tell you about one of my clients who came to me last year. We'll call her Lisa. And she was in her late 40s, and she had been single on and off. She'd had a series of pretty bad relationships with guys who were not so nice. They did not put her first. They just were not really respectful and thoughtful, and sometimes kind of abusive. And she thought that that's all that she could have for a variety of reasons. And of course, we dug into her childhood and all that. And so that's, at that point, that's where she was. And she thought, oh, well, this is my lot in life to have rotten men in my life. So she didn't feel worthy of a kind, loving man at that point. And when the last mean guy left, she didn't go after him, and she didn't welcome him back when he came crawling back to her. And she came to me instead. What a great move that was. So she decided it was time to get some help and support. And initially she was kind of nervous and feeling lonely, feeling scared about starting over, kind of afraid to get out there and get online, and wasn't feeling really confident, didn't think she was young enough, thin enough, all that stuff, not really feeling lovable. And she had her guard up, like, oh, I can't trust anybody. So we did some deep work. We dug in, and she went for it, which was courageous of her. I know you're all about courage, Lorrayn. So she was totally courageous to really dig in there and transform those fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. And we did this. It was amazing. And she really got it. She felt empowered. She felt deserving and lovable, really, for the first time in her life. She felt like she was worthy of being with somebody who cherished her. She gained so much confidence and clarity. She knew what works and what doesn't. After having all these not so good relationships, she knew she wanted something much better. And she persevered with dating. And I am happy to tell you, she met a great guy who just adores her. And she was so thrilled about this guy when she was telling me all about him when she first met him. And he's such a good match for her, aligned with her in so many ways. They have a shared vision. And it's unlike any previous relationship she had ever had. So he's very kind and caring. She feels heard and supported, probably for the first time in her life. And they're like a team together. She knows she can trust him. And the exciting news, they just got engaged. So she's like, oh, I'm so excited. They're both so excited. And they're both so thrilled to have found each other. He feels like he hit the jackpot, and he found this amazing woman, and she feels the same way. And interestingly, she told me that previously she had been in therapy. She'd done other coaching programs. She'd done personal development courses. But she had never gotten to that place before until our work together. And she said, wow, this transformed my life.
And so I've got to ask you, because I've got to ask you, so what did you actually do with her? How did you transform her limiting beliefs that were blocking her love?
Yeah. Don't you all want to know? I want that. Give me some of that. Right? Yeah, so you can do it. You can remove those blocks and create something new. So where there was once a limiting belief stopping you, blocking you, that can be transformed into a supportive uplifting belief. When you change your beliefs, you can change your life. So let's do it right now. Let's give an example so you can really, and this isn't the only thing that we did, but I have all kinds of processes and modalities, but this is something we can do together right now. So let's go for it. So an example that's common out there is some version of I'm not lovable. Like, so something's off with me, something's wrong. And so first thing is to check in. How does it feel? So let's all do this together. How does it feel when we really take it on and feel that, like, oh, ick, right? It doesn't feel helpful and expansive, right? What would you say it feels like? Like, what are some words that come to mind for how that feels? I think.
So edgy. Perhaps if you would just share in the chat what you're feeling around that.
Sure. Maybe it feels painful. You might feel contracted. I think that's a tendency to kind of contract in, like, I don't want to even put, it's the opposite of lonely. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, lonely. It feels lonely. So getting in touch with that feeling is important to start there. And then you get to question this belief. How certain am I that it is true? How certain are you? Okay, I'm not lovable. Oh, really? Really? What's the proof in that? Really? What? You get to decide. Guess what? You're in charge of your life. You're in charge of your beliefs. You get to decide, is it true or is it not? You're questioning it now.
So what do you do? I got to ask you this, Wendy, what do you do with people when they just really don't like themselves and, they just, the overwhelming kind of self-image is that they hate themselves?
Yeah, well, we have to start with that. And we're going to change that. So but this is one way to do it, to let them feel how awful that feels, to have that negativity. And, it feels terrible. And are you sure that you're, you're awful and you're undeserving of love? No. And did you ever another question to ask, did I consciously choose this belief? Would you ever consciously choose to hate yourself? Would you ever consciously choose to believe I'm not lovable? You would not. You would not ever consciously choose a belief that hurts. Mm-hmm. So it's unconscious. So this self-hatred stuff, it's unconscious. It's indoctrinated. It maybe came from family. Maybe early on you got a message that you should be different. You're not okay the way you are. Maybe from your peers, you thought, well, I'm not as cool as the cool people, or whatever it is. Or maybe the media, you thought I'm supposed to look a certain way. If I don't look that way, I hate myself. I'm not lovable. So all of that is like, you get to choose now. So do I choose it now is the question. Okay, so maybe you've been beating yourself up for decades. Do you want to keep doing it? It's an old habit. You don't have to keep choosing it. So this is your choice. And if you choose to let it go, you can. You get to choose to do that. And let's just see how that feels. So how would it feel without it? How would I feel without it? Oh, here's somebody, Garrett says, I feel lovable on the basis that I have money. So, okay, so yeah, so it's that is not unconditional love. That is conditional, right? So what if you can be lovable no matter what? So you get to choose what feels better. So first thing is to ask, how will I feel without it? Maybe you feel lighter, more relaxed. If you're not in this state of hating yourself, you can relax, you can expand, you can be open. So what new belief will serve me better? What's a new possibility for you? What would you choose instead? So what if you're lovable just the way you are, whether or not you have money, whether or not you're a certain age, whether or not you weigh a certain amount? None of that matters. You're just plain lovable. That goes for everybody listening. You just are. Would you tell a little baby, oh, sorry, no, you're not lovable? Because I don't know. I mean, we love babies. We love children. We love, there's no conditions about it. So you get to choose that. I mean, I get this as a short exercise. Some people might need a little more time, and I sometimes work with people for months, even on occasion years, but you can get to this place where you can take on this new belief. I can enjoy love and intimacy in my life. I deserve love and happiness in my life. How does that feel? You can just try it on right now, or even if you're not fully taking it on as, you're just trying it on right now. How does that feel? To take on this new belief that, well, I am lovable. I do deserve love and intimacy. Feels a lot better, right? Yeah. So just know that you're good enough, lovable, and deserving of love now and always.
That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful, Wendy. And how does compassion play a role in this?
Yeah, so important. So let's start with self-compassion, people, right? This is where we want to start. Self-compassion. Notice all the criticism and judgment, how we tend to beat ourselves up. So we want to pay attention to that, and you get to choose to treat yourself with kindness and care. You can treat yourself with that same kindness that you would extend to others. So I invite you all to really pay attention to how you're talking to yourself. If there's this negative voice saying, yeah, you should do this, you should do that, and stop shooting on yourself. And how can you be loving and kind instead? So make an effort to talk to yourself in a kind way and to treat yourself with love and kindness. So starting there, that's hugely important. And then let's look at having compassion for others. Super important. And it can help us transform blocks to love and intimacy for sure. Because if you want a healthy relationship, you need to have compassion in that relationship. So we want to be kind and caring to other people in our lives, and we want to be able to have empathy and be able to take somebody else's perspective. So I would love to do a little exercise with our audience today.
Sounds a good idea. Go for it. Absolutely.
So I'd like, well, actually, Lorrayn, I think you and I can do it together. We can be a pair here.
Okay.
But the rest of you, think about somebody in your life. It could be anyone. If you have a partner, it could be your partner, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, a colleague, it could be anyone that you want to focus your attention on. And Lorrayn and I, we can do it together. So I'm going to ask you, all of you, to participate and to repeat after me. That sound good? So
yep.
Lorrayn, you and I will be buddies. So we're tuning in here to each other. And I'll ask you to repeat after me. Okay. Just like me.
Just like me.
You are seeking love and happiness in your life.
You are seeking love and happiness in your life.
Just like me.
Just like me.
You are trying to avoid suffering in your life.
You are trying to avoid suffering in your life.
Just like me.
Just like me.
You have known sadness and loneliness.
You have known sadness and loneliness.
Just like me.
Just like me.
You deserve love and intimacy in your life.
You deserve love and intimacy in your life.
Just take a breath and just notice how you feel. And what do you notice?
Oh, I notice more peace in myself.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Love it. Yeah, so all of you, this is yours. You can have this peace and compassion in your life. And lightness, says Gita. Thank you, Gita. Lovely. So what a gift. What a gift. And you don't even have to know the other person. You can be sitting in an airport and do this exercise, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. In traffic, somebody's cutting you off, instead of saying, yeah, you can have compassion for them. I mean, you don't want to close your eyes and do all this when you're driving, but yeah, you get the idea.
So, Wendy, is this what you would suggest as the way to connect, to increase love and intimacy in our lives?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see. Do we want to talk about communication, or do we?
Oh, yeah. Communication and compassion. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So compassion, we just kind of talked about compassion, how important compassion is in our lives and to have better relationships. So when we communicate with compassion, we can change all our relationships. And the key is to remember this person you are communicating with is not your enemy. So they're just like you. We just did this compassion exercise, just like me. You can have empathy for them. You can have compassion for them, whether it's your partner, a family member, a friend, a colleague, whoever it is. So starting from that place is so powerful. And I thought I would share a little bit about some of the common communication patterns that block love and intimacy. And I'll just share two quickly. So one is when we assume that, well, if you really care about me, you're just going to pay attention and you'll know what I want. I shouldn't have to say anything, right? You should read my mind. So I actually used to do some variation of that years ago. I remember with an old boyfriend, I just thought, well, okay, I'm going to go along and do the things he wants to do, and then he should know what I want. I shouldn't have to tell him, and then I'd be pissy about it because he didn't figure it out, right?
Yeah, I did that too. I did that. I remember being like that too.
Right? So we think people are mind readers, and they're not. That's the thing to remember. You need to actually tell them. So let's not do that. And then that doesn't increase intimacy either. It blocks love and intimacy. So we don't want to go that route. And another common unhealthy pattern is when I think, well, the only way I'm going to get my needs met is to demand that you meet them. So there's the mind reader on one, or hoping you'll read my mind, and then there's the demanding, like, I'm going to tell you what to do. You need to do this or not do that. And of course, that doesn't help with love and intimacy either. So neither of those, they're common. I mean, you look at relationships, both of these things happen often. So that's kind of unconscious patterns. So we want to be more conscious. Let me actually clarify that even more. So
Wendy, I tell you what I'm going to do, because I can see that we're going to run out of time here.
We're running out of time.
We are going to run out of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just I'm going to say to you and ask you is whether you would consider coming back and maybe doing a one-to-one interview, and we can put that out to everybody so that we can finish some of the questions that you've given me. Would you be willing to do that someday?
Delighted, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, because I feel like we've just only touched the surface, actually, of what you can.
Well, I could
do us. So,
got a ton of.
I know you do, and I can see that our next speaker is lined up there, ready to rock and roll. So, could we just go to you? Would you like to explain what your beautiful free gift is? And I know that Alexander's going to put that in the chat now.
Yeah, but given that I started talking about communication, I'll just end that to not leave a loose thing.
Sure.
So what I recommend for all of you with communication is to make requests, not demands. And maybe you want to write it down. It seems obvious, but this is how you want to show up, to make requests, not demands, with not having judgment and asking for what you want, sharing your truth, being courageous, as Lorrayn would advocate. Yeah. And when you're listening to the other person, you want to be listening with empathy, not with judgment. So that's enough about that. When we feel heard, we feel closer, we feel more connected, and there's greater intimacy.
And I have a feeling that you have a lot of things, a lot of gems like that would really help people with their communication.
Oh Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. I'm working with a couple right now, and they're like, oh, they're so much better than things were before because we're working on it. So yes, my free gift is my roadmap to relationship success. This is from my book, my best-selling book, Roadmap to Success, with Deepak Chopra and Ken Blanchard. And with your roadmap gift, you will uncover those harmful beliefs that get in the way, that sabotage your happiness, they sabotage your relationships. You'll uncover what they are. You'll discover how to change those patterns that have been destructive for you, that have stopped you from love. And you'll get my proven steps to transform those limiting beliefs and create successful relationships. So this is really useful if you're single or if you're coupled in a relationship. You don't want to just leave your love life to chance. This is, giving you that roadmap to help you. So I would love to help you on your journey to create a life that you love, filled with the love and intimacy that you desire and that you deserve.
Fantastic. Oh, bless you. Bless you, Wendy. Thank you so much. Sorry to cut you off there, but and so that's a great, I would really love that, actually. I've been meaning to do like a sort of weekly thing for a long time. So I will, connect with you, and definitely all the people who are here who've joined the summit. You will be invited to come, and we can continue this conversation with Wendy. But for now, I'm going to just unmute everybody. You should be able to unmute this time. I've unmuted everybody. Just to come in and just say a big thank you to Wendy so she hears your voices.
Thank you, Wendy.
Oh, thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you so much, Lorraine. It's been such a delight. And all of you who are here listening or are listening to the recording, feel free to reach out to me directly. I would love to connect with you.
And we will be sending out all of your contact details and your social media as well. When I send out the links and everything at the end, it'll take me a couple of days, but I will get to that and everybody will get it. So bless you and thank you. Goodbye, Wendy. Speak to you really soon. So good connection. Bye-bye, my dear.